wait me aka bebre aka ho. Some of the guidelines are a year omo Oxford Oxford Learning Studies be edema on some of the things and nema a bit me aboa to be studying. See, I can say, what does it mean to study? I want person much say send me was in no capture no what dream say. That is it. That is what studies is about. The kind say of course they kind gaining knowledge into your canon. So that's for kind investigating here in but the idea about time. You need to devote time to gain knowledge. That is it. Enti said there be a busy. Na say wusi wusua there you know baby but no you have a big issue to sort out. Yeah, 500 yeah manage ho because or say so person you holy kra now you need to what? Take time. Nyabre. O person wusua there you need to take time. Enti that is the first thing we learn about studying, but has say omaka say taking time within the time say you need to be organized. You need to set yourself challenges. Obey to my friend say homework and I say ongoing task and I say bibisa. You need to pay attention. Intinye say kind of keke but who nyabrepa who need to pay attention. One ma wadwene no akoso yie. Na fe what distractions near my be how nya way year free ho. Na fe this is the important part 5. You don't study by not taking notes and completing the notes in your spare time. Into okay first now your kwasori ya meka say me papa de bia me ne kwasori na wo kura pen ni paper. Me say asori ya ko Bible ne de ko pen ni paper de all de ko de but say okoye notes. Afi na mate di ntia na oyesa na say. You need to take notes. You need to ask questions. Broni beka say interrogate. Busansem say de be ya obetia say because say the mama look kind so be do animal chira de kra na. You need to clarify, say, the work and the wooty and the sanitiana in a fee. The account make study plan, review, talk. Nina account. And that is where say Tresem Kasi there. That is how I start looking at this whole issue. But this is the thing. Yeah, software. So we heard the ministerial guidelines this week in any year. The core qualities am my ministry near strong, am my ministry near year no. We say develop character, evangelism, leadership, worship, management, relationship. Sanya menyina dia ye focus was we no eka ho. It's called scholarship. And na software kwe now scholarship no any studies no omo I think so can be no place sometimes na you move a say Peter ne ayifo no me nipa bia na nyame kofa wo mo eno mbe ye nyame adwumanti there cry na opeso could so for near there niema wusua nyina ho faso ne sen ene ade de ntina ukosua ogebra ogebra de koye say mo be na de ogebra koye ene ade but and then no ye be pensen mu kakra ne ahwese nyame be boa ne atene kakra bi ase a scholarship ade a ehu hia pa if we say nyame pa onipa ni wie no ya omukasem ni wie what they forget say nyame sa de omuko school ana nyame na master teacher, so God took them through training, studying, and that is what the scholarship is all about. Now there is a National Institute of Laboratory, National Training Laboratory Institute, a organization bi anasem kan say disua ku bi o maye nhwehwemu bebre na around 1947 almost studies be extensive research on behavior on studies. Now almost studies ni nyina na de ba ko mu hu ye ne say there are some criteria eboa ema adesua ehun eyeye. Na niema mienu ano mo hwe pa ne ba ko remembering rate, how to remember the ewasua. Ena de toso mienu ye retention is so be keep the ewasua. Now, almost this study about out. And they came up. It became one of the things that guided a lot of training around the Western world. Now, this is a chart by Come the Bay. Almost say, "Se wo ko jina baabi, se wo kasa, actually will be idea. You must first consider nipa na wo sua de no." So the mama look and so you student. Say, nipa no ade na me kire no ohu ana wo hu. Until you need to start looking at how they will remember enema wo kire no. Into omu rate, and this is a thorough study. You can even research further into this. A thorough study. And what they came out to find here say there are and niema bi wo yeah, okay, but the word tie no a we student no ye moa no into we rate na or say remembering so wusua ade a na say ye kan student no or kan a 10% pe na kan trim so wo tie so dey bia wakogina ho na say mo yi wududwadudwamu no a only 20% in a kan trim. Actually enye kan trim obekai, that's the word, remember. Yeah, 30% of the ohunu no e kan trim. So what study a se nipa no ohunu bibi e ka de wo kire no ho a eboa no se otie na wohu ni mienu ka bomu a about 50% in a kan trim manekai. Se wo tie na wo hunu na wo take notes no 70% e kan trim, because amokai the Oxford for kind here say you can go back to do what? Remember, and I said to clarify and ebuama wutimi ekai. But look at this. The most effective part, when you try to encourage them to do the opposite omoye no, and I said the opposite omokai no. Enti, so what study here? Menkwala brim me call children's Sabbath school play a me ye nyina me da so kai mu bebre ene. Adentia. Because it has been stuck in my mind, because me role model ye me kan kire me te me ye all these things ni nyina no went through. Enti se nyame se ye ministers na se ye responsibility ye se obi a wodi anim nipa na tie anim a ye kire o ma de ni nyina no me ye students here. Then we must first look at your process a ye de beboa omo ama de ye kire wo omo no. I remember. Okay, that is the first thing. The second point, now we go on to retention, which is completely different from remembering, and only a different but just on the surface of it. It says, when you do a presentation, 5%, you have the raise there. 5% of the award in a comb. No retention, reading 10%, audiovisual, so na wutie. Audio, yes, visual, eyes, now wutie 20% in a cow trim. So be demonstrated at 30%. But say a small groups at this year in a model juma 50%. Enti afe ebi amati the entire naso for August na near break as a Sabbath school mo me fan serious because a hop na this year no bebre it happen even more than your sermons. 75% the nipa no ebe practice. Nti ye bompa yes ye rade bo ani entie no kwa na emom ye nye etiefo ene ayefo. Na 90% se wusua de akokire. Nti these retention rates and remembering rates, start giving ye nyina no an idea about enema ebetimi aboa in our training to be very, very good. And you heard the Great Commission and Yamede which is I think saying ebetimi recite no kama a brainty me musa say Great Commission here there, but in Matthew chapter 28. The first part also go ye therefore yenim monko Yeah, what has say ni, you know, what I say elders, yeah, so for Nyamia to suffering, he has given us the call. And the call, no, we have responded to the call. Into your ban and chain, in a favor sumayen. Go. But also we should go and get people to study whilst we teach. Said your mama look young conquer church. Into your first duty is to make sure, say, nipa na ye church no, are they studying or not? And that is very important. And that is why Migidi said, you cannot, and documenter, so a guide and this week, or you see some keywords, we say efficient, effective, and you cannot become an efficient minister, an effective minister, a good teacher, when you are not sharp and up to scratch. Say, brebiano, your eyes on the ball, trying to study. It's going to be difficult. So simply, I want you to capture this picture in your mind. The call to ministry, it is you going to be a lifelong learner and a lifelong teacher. Because it is only by learning, gaining scholarship, that you can teach and do everything evangelism. Now, after start we zoom into only the learning section. We can talk about presentation, which is a different conversation altogether, but we just want to see how we can now look into the learning side. So zoom into the learning side. By the way, teaching side pedagogy, which is the method and practice of teaching. Different ways and strategies are but said the American, we want to see yen as learners. And you zoom into learners now. Said the ministerial directions at the Mayan or say your duty with scholarship, and I say your engagement with scholarship, say you will help with Bible study. You have to study the Bible so you understand it diligently and carefully. In a way, professionally, so be cool school, any other, but we are looking at how you can diligently and carefully study the Bible this afternoon. You can see where all the other things not come into play. See, as a Bible study, sir, you are looking at doctrine. You've been an software, ebusa whole question, the software Albert. Some of them are doctrine, some of them are tradition, some of them are practices. But you must be well read. You must do exegesis. You must do hermeneutics. Exegesis, and yes, we will superimpose one understanding on the Bible. Hermeneutics, we interpret the scripture. Preaching reflects a deep and continuous study. We say no so. We share what other people are doing well. Current best practices. In your ministry and continuous education. And this is what the ministerial guidelines give yenina as a software. Into yet now, yensha hawa ebetimi abuayen. Ebetimi abuayen. Me the pedagogy na to as said the learning enono ebua said the beya the yesu ani nyina no etimi ayenti maybe go through a few resources ebetimi abuayen ye Bible sua enye bibia menim say mu bebre bia yenim but ebia ni mu bi nso nim but ya na boa said the beya ebema we school there, but we keep on learning. Retirement there, but this is the time that people need us more because the experiences can now be contextualized. We can put it into the current context. Now, I'm here to me and nipa but we students, they make a try to answer. Go through the some of the examples near say. You don't start planning to teach without knowing the type of students you are going to teach. Wuntimi nkasa me kochira de mrekwa woni mo target audience. But se wu sua de na de o target audience nipa obechiro ma de no boa wo e wa de sua no se omonte ase any confusion, any questions woni ade no should also help you in your Bible studies. Enti sa niema we say no nyina no ye behwe na fei briefly into the next maybe 15 or so minutes no me demonstrate a few things na fei their question and answers. Besi ha say no pacho obi wo a quick clarification bia wo hia ansa na matoa so. Okay, good. I think silence no mean say mo for me and small fan cheme. David, a chese mutie me da wase. Okay.
The pacha ubeti me actually scholarship no mu kakra because you can scholarship wa ye mu bi e want ase e wo kwan bi so. If you go school ni epiama wo. Ya hide e mu ma ye.
That's mama loop. In fact, what can you use? Scholarship generally adesua. Once a scholarship na ya na ye canon. In fact, ya na ye grant o na ye grant na free ho. A scholarship grant. See ye mouse Canada akosua de. Into scholarship na nkasa na ye adesua na Okay, good. Here are some of the resources, some of the easy resources I benya, and I'm starting with the free ones. Young fan say, and questioner, Pastor Albert Ebusan, me person me shall say free. Who was say, Dickens for young kwala near the other and chichi muni nyina no ko say send a Bible no kan na fe the bar study to show yourself approved any other other no say wo share my screen so let me share it differently so the be ya ye be hu ye nyina pamcho mama 1 second. Okay, enti good. All right. Good. So some of the resources a bit me use what we call the Step Bible. Step Bible a free resource online a boa emma wutiminya the language in its original form. In fact, there are lot of resources. But yes, start with a free one. Ye komo no se wo bibia eno so betimi aboa ye nyina se na pamcho drew question time na and answer time na wo di aba. Enti okay, this need to put it somewhere, but okay. Enti a very simple stepbible.org. Okay. More use Step Bible than I say unhu da okoswa emma different versions of the scripture. Into betimi we say ESV near default language eba in English. Into what this does say language who say Bible no I say but ni nyina na coded or tagged to a certain database. Into a link it up with the actual language yetro adini wom. Ti yefana say ye nyina nim say wo school no bi o ha na yempe Hebrew ne Greek no yempe, but akoya de say so you can say because akoya de say Clifford baby otase bibi any ade which is very good. Yempe, but we have to use it because aboa ema yet language na sinti wo hwe we ya ebia when your question nyina no center on text be a Bible na use when say they see interpreting no e important say software as a leader obe step back now obe ko akoshe what that language actually means in its original form. Inti yemfa say word to say beginning. Okay. Beginning. Genesis 1. By the way, open so you in the language bit to say Psalm, you just put Psalm, and then you can go into the language now Psalm and here, But you go with the Genesis 1. Into Genesis 1. I have a problem with beginning. And also because said there was no beginning. And I be said, so we studies only on the beginning. What do? So what the Keza no toswa the actual language, in fact, oklekeswa on the side, it gives you the root word of the language. Enti osha Rashid, but na me no okay, yeah. Enti other information was used 49 times in the Hebrew Bible. The other meaning interpretation be a first, beginning, best, chief, beginning, first, chief, choice part. Enti straight away it gives you say, in fact, say question that use of beginning now. You can look at it, say the language used there could be say in the first of what, or even best, and best of what. Into Abuama will start to look into it. Another example with 2 Timothy, was it 2 Timothy 2:15? 2 Timothy 2:15, which is study to show yourself approved. Okay. Where ESV, which is English Standard Version. So over 15 now, or say, do your best. In the original language, I'm talking about say we few Hebrew, no English, Greek, say that word stands for to be eager, to make effort, do one's best. This is what King James during 15 a year near King James version interpreted as studying. Yeah, because I will back now so be choose KJV. Me and click away. But I'm screen there, Pamcho. Yeah. Obo KJV, which is the King James version. The language in King James. Into one say study the same word, and it is interpreting here as to be eager, to make effort, to do one best. So say Obi raise a question, say that issue of study now, King James version, we need to explore it differently. It makes sense because the actual word that you use now has only been interpreted once as study, but it could mean different words are sitting more with the context and the definition. I am enrich understanding. Ubetimi nso compare different texts into King James waha me the ESV waha and ebia me the another version of the Bible to say NLT, New
Living Translation.
Okay, NLT. Yeah. Okay, I think some upload do and only the what I say, but any other anyway, let me stay with the two for now, but you get the drift. So what it helps you to do, say Osha 15 now, study to show thyself approved, do your best to present yourself to God. These are why it is important for you as a minister to go back to the original language, Apart from that, other places are study. Other places are where you and also on information and then on the left side they have say intertextual studies. Okay, and this is 1 2 you bit me use I think say we can explore this further, but let me go to another free text as one answer. So we call Google na so we interlinearbible.org. Interlinear Bible a very, very important tool, but it's free. I didn't make us, and also presented the same language, but from a different angle. You can have both in Greek and in Hebrew. Let me go to, for example, Hebrew interlinear, and of course, I start with Genesis 1. Into here, what you get, it gives you the actual language in Hebrew, but the beginning, but it gives you other things that you can other link. I'll be to me at the very, very important. But one thing I may point to has said, so in the beginning of Genesis, it is telling you, say, the whole context here is similar to John chapter 1, verse 1 to 5. And it gives you other parts of the Bible, the passages in the phrases, and also link up. Now, I think so you can actually compare this to the actual language. So they call Hebrew, OHB, which is the code that link you to the Masoretic text. Then you enter. Don't forget to. Oh, sorry. New Testament in Hebrew and New Testament I try, but I need to go for Greek. And just put Greek. And the amount difference, so Septuagint, and I say, but SBLG is the most closer to us, to the coin, and then that you get the language also. So what kind of Hebrew, a friend is saying, Greek na what again, you can do the same for Hebrew text, and so then you put the OHB. It gives you the Hebrew Leningrad Codex, which is very, very good, and you can start reading your text in Hebrew. That is quickly what I will say. I have another form of interlinear, and so when we get to it, but I know some of you have Logos, which is also a very good tool, and to explore very, very quickly. Now, we are talking about committing time to study, and all these tools are very, very helpful. Okay, all right. And with Logos, you can have a free reductive version, but I think so we'll talk. There are different versions. The higher you go, the better. Again, I want to do a very quick test. Do you have a Bible passage B I may struggle with? Mommy, I'm quiz back just to make sure say people are listening. Bible mo here for say na e was akakakra no amma say onyame bi no. Wabo me David na kam e was Psalms. Ye kai. Wa mana akakakra na ma yese.
Psalm 8.
Okay. Okay. There is it just came to my mind, and there's an interesting because we heard different Bible translations. Let's see if my Logos will load. I think some load and but what Logos does, and also how different translations, different Bible versions has actually picked the translations and Emma. Okay, good. Good. Make a personal text now. Make an
Verse 5.
Oh, Madeno. I think say why not doing say no because slow be a maintenance into mommy break a gram from chop. Verse 5. Okay, verse 5. Good. Or see, you have made me a little lower than heavenly beings, version Baini. This is ESV, English Standard Version. Yeah. Assuming say I have a struggle with this. In fact, this is one of the first questions that I had, and I mean, you know, because now me with different Bible versions. Now me kind of say, you know, it was until later. And he said, assuming some person me investigated that word now, or highlight it, or right click it. Then, of course, among different suggestions, but you can do what we call Bible word study. I'm just talking about some of the simplest things we can do, and then you're to start helping us to start studying. You go into the complexities. No, into word study. What happens? Say, good. On the left side, you know, among all the information that you need about that the word that a use of honor Elohim, and we know say Elohim ejina homa nyame, but we know say the Elohim nso ejina homa lesser gods to sabosom and heavenly beings. And that is how the ESV, I think, say other translations will go straight to some of these, you know. But for you as a Bible student, you need to be able to look at all this. And so will be then you bring them to basis. DBL, which is more of a commentary on it. Another what I say. And you can get more of these commentaries. No, the true God notes, though the form is grammatically plural and the holding but I say in a hear a translation what I say in NIV translation, until you can come and choose a different translation and see how different Bible texts are also looking at the text. It's a New Revised Standard Version, and other ways are also are translating ewa ha say ni nyina eboa afei other places in the Bible where you say what kind of root words are what it means, and then how it actually differs. It has been translated differently away from God, and so into here or the different color scheme Abba say just to show where it has actually been translated differently from the main God of Israel. And of course, other places are here. And you can read a lot of commentary on the studies or any we say into just one word, and you can see say we hear a very, very detailed presentation as a sermon. I now understand why initially to study means you need to take time, and eboa. This is just logos. Of course, ABR questions by a bit me I go through. There are other commentaries and you can also link it up to into this, and of course you can also read it in the main language. Good. And these are just two of the tools ubetimi use. Another thing na me pese meka ho asem works, and here I want to focus on just two sides. And some of my screen now. Some of my screen, yeah. There are lots of information and crofwat na say atwetwe ewo ho eboa. Enti to say academia.edu ubetimi anya a lot of free articles ewo ho. Okay. Again, so what's signing in? What's signing in? That's already sir. You can actually start getting a lot of free information. Into area that you can search for papers. Into everyone say what sorry and yaka BB. Everyone say topic B. Topic B a bit tricky. And then start with B a simple. to say baptism, you know, you can use here and see what other people have written about baptism. But you are looking at baptism from what? Baptism from Adventist context. And you could see say Seventh-day Adventist and baptism, for example. And what normally you get are resources. So what I say, you have about 220 results, papers, you know, a talk about Seventh-day Adventist and their view on baptism. Now, here is where I may sound a bit interesting. Sometimes, you know, say topic be reading from an Adventist perspective, a mistake. But brand discuss say one thing we must understand, you don't start proper studies from your stronghold. You start from what other people think about the issue. Certify said the Uncle your most critic, what they think. Inti Emma Wobeba would the end it start making sense. Inti, for example, maybe a research on baptism, I will hardly start from Seventh-day Adventist perspective. I'll start from maybe baptism or maybe argument against, you know, baptism by immersion or something, why sprinkling, that sort of thing. Inti Emma will read a lot about these things. Into I say you have baptism, but maybe in Pofu and a Troy, any all this you can download them. Lots and lots of things that you can use. Now there's another website and also acquired to say what we call meta database of resources. A Methodist from saying SMU. We do a link not to PowerPoint in this, so I can share the PowerPoint later if people want. But Oshe or more smu.edu, and I say you could just put smu.edu, and then you research on them, because what they have a whole center that allows you to investigate a lot of resources. And you can actually search again the issue of baptism, and you can baptism articles. Enti omonso ebwa emma unya a lot of information. But these omo at the end say they don't look, even though a Methodist site, they don't only look at their books. They have linked up to every other area of study. Into it becomes an area, a data bank of information. Good. Yeah, maybe I'm going to rush through the rest. The other thing I said here in our presentation, say maybe a few sources are to her say Bako stories for preaching. Now, Ebusiafo, one of the things and as studies me can say a changing my perception about preaching. Narratives, which is a choir stories, efaso, eboa. Na ye enipe, we say in the Western world, you can't stories be na your comedies near the diagram near the other. Enti when you are using stories, sometimes it becomes a bit questionable. But so what to me, my students etias say impo ye my mugana near the idea. You can't story to say an answer story and I say any of these stories now. It is the real teaching. So okotna abrobi hona say o2 for most of the time obeka empenin semachro na empenin semono what be ya basem ana bibisa, and that was the Semitic mind. Enti Osha Bible, one of the reasons why most of it stories because it is there. Let me give you an example. We have your fundamental belief on forgiveness, and I say love, and I say a year. A very detailed, I don't have time to explore it, but we have I think it's a fundamental belief, 15, and I say a lot about faith and these things. But what kind of quotation, and that's what we say, if I say, what did you get? You can see that it is very academic. But so what can forgiveness I say? That's a what to me a present it. Said there was one day. Let me a baby. Now I wasn't even deserving. And now my young from so be bad or the better. I mean, you put it in the right context. That's a will share. Said look actually about the prodigal son, and I say straight away you see say these highly carefully written academic statements I form a belief or no. It's now it becomes more relational, I mean sensible to nipa na woti and it is really important say and because we when our mind is engaged on is put on discovery mode, the listeners want to listen. And the truth here says some of these stories near tear-free and quarabrim. It is the question here, how do you turn it around to make it a story of the 21st century? And sometimes that is difficult, but I think that is something that and some of the stories are kind of around a buoyant to enrich our presentations. May the stories for preaching at to her say, you can get a lot and here you come to the index and among all kind of stories about all kind of things. And sometimes the one is what me move away from the story here to go and research the actual source. You understand? Say any topic like just want anything, just experience. It's experience. Experience. For example, and that dear one I bet na ha oh mommy
computer no pesho
computer okay a beautiful story and sometimes the source say original story by this person written and used by this this is a story will be kind, but the beauty is a beautiful otimima a more life story a fact happen. And what I probably will do here say I will ignore this story completely, go to the source and read it for myself, because sometimes we have presented the story in the way they want it, but it is also good for something else. Me go to the source, but you include stories. By the way, I think even saying you include stories in our sermons near a bit of an understatement, because the master teacher himself used stories a lot and narratives a lot. And that is something I consider. There's another site, Sermon Search. And here, what it does, it doesn't give you the sermon, but it gives you things about the sermon. It says something like courage. Say 12 sponges, meaning what it is. But so about 12 sponges are on 7th April 1992, some sort of article, and a view of what source into go to the source, and so it is helping to be much real today. And we say Moses and I say what they Noah now people can relate to it in real life situations. Now may the Netflix and the BBC 4 because sometimes in fact, let me say most of Eniyama me to even explore more in studying. Netflix, but not just watching anything, watching the real life experiences. So on Netflix, that's all about real life events. Sometimes our brain I say you just sit back and watch it because it is like watching something which is true. Then you can go and read about it because said movie for no will try to put a lot of things to it to make it look in a certain way. But at least you get the concept. One of them, I mean, I was just thinking about many that I can share with you, but one of them was the story about Akolebi and a friend Fernandez. Fernandez on Netflix. Okay. The trial of Gabriel Fernandez. Now, damn here story we say your family need to be here, but it drew me my in Kwalano if we has say, and I cried. I didn't hear. If we said this is a true story, which is very, very current about Ubia wash onoano. Mean kind of say in simple terms, no, ukum neba. Na a quiet way of us no any no, it is so inhumane. But sometimes remember, say you can present the fact as a teacher to your students, but sometimes you have to also take them on an emotional journey by getting them to understand the reality of today. And these things a boy my presentation a real. Into say obitia, then it makes sense. The Bible now begin to make sense because the Bible can't bonne once. I'm not using only bonne course Paul Breast, but I'm using bonne course has say in a different light to show to the person. Me just say yes, answer a boy. Another thing, BBC4 there are a lot of documentaries. Ina nipa bako comment me refi nipa wakaye. Now or kase ABA sometimes nyamesoma wo Ghana no any dia wa say no because of the the principle doesn't change, but the context no change. And that means say there be no examples I may nyina na ye me ma me bia no tie akuras ne ade na me bakwaku doesn't even relate to that. And my friend Bebre don't even understand what that means, even though they will be sitting there watching you. In learning and in planning studies, you need to understand your students and their experiences. Into these things, and there are lots more countries, different countries, you will have your channels a talk about the history of your country, the event, to say history channels, any discoveries, any of these documentary sites, Emma what say, and say, Emma what present here, it me a capture the emotions of your people. I can't commentary once, but I just went back to Bible Hub because Bible Hub has okay, let's do this quickly. Now, okay, just put okay, into me commentary. Okay, I think I put the link here. So let me just copy the link. Oh, commentaries. Type of commentary. Okay. But what it does, and also how different, say you have over 50 commentaries all linked up together. Into we have the whole Bible commentaries, and you have a lot. In fact, sometimes we call about these sections now uhunu nipa or more actual commentary, and where the person is coming from. Maybe I will be nipa non-religion into say no huniamanti how they are almost look at issues, and we have specific to Old Testament, New Testament commentaries, and you have selected books about people. These are huge resources. In fact, some time ago, not your tongue, now it was very, very expensive. Now you have them free online. Eboa, Emma Utumi, Enriche, Esechi. Now, again, of course, Bible Hub, no, the entire statement of belief. So, statement of belief, that's what Seventh-day Adventist belief. They capture. The capturing is captured by us. I'll say we have about 27, and they have about 28. And all that they are saying is captured by us. And the starting point, we have a lot of similarity in terms of our standpoint, but we go further to express things a bit more detailed. And sometimes, you move outside your circles now. But I decided to chip this in to say, you stay within the context of the conversation, knowing where the person is also coming from. Right. Now, audiobooks. So much that we can talk about. I think I probably need to stop in about 5 minutes. We can have 15 minutes about 10 minutes ago. I'll stop in about 5 minutes now. Questions. Audiobooks, very, very important. Sometimes you have 2 hours, 3 hours. Now, it is an opportunity for you to learn. Now, I wouldn't even go anywhere. I will start with the easiest, the most simplest, which is YouTube. Did you know, sir, most books has now been put as audio on YouTube. And of course, you can study that, but you can even do more by saying, assuming me call YouTube, na me pe ABA. Let me say, I want to do a study. I want to say me TV on Paul. And I'll just put Apostle Paul audiobook. Okay, so what I get here, into Catholic for audiobook. Whatever this is, it's about 2 hours. So these are all books. But I'm just going to pick any ordinary one to see how we can relate to it. I don't know these people, but whatever they are. I've just picked. But what voice, Nana?
Yeah, but take a crabby. Try again.
Share computer sound. No?
Yeah, advert.
Oh, okay.
That's how share sound, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay. Good.
To rise up.
Okay. Now this is the thing.
Growing up in the comfort of a wealthy family, Saul was Jewish by faith and Greek by culture. And through his father, he was also a citizen of Rome, whose empire embraced the Mediterranean from Judea in the east all the way to Hispania in the west.
Okay.
3 years after Christ died on the cross, his followers still lived in fear. One man struck real terror into their hearts. His name was Saul. Yet this same man would become Christ's greatest messenger, Saint Paul, the apostle to the Gentiles. His journeys would take him to distant shores, into the heart of pagan territory. From the deserts of Arabia to the very pinnacles of Greek and Roman culture. This is the story of how St. Paul, once Christianity's most ruthless persecutor, laid the foundations of the worldwide church. Beneath the Taurus Mountains, on the southern coast of Turkey, lies the city of Tarsus. Here Saul was born in the year 5 AD.
Okay, good. One was started with what? Facts. And the reason why me play with say you don't just listen or watch or just take it say information here, that is true. No. You are only collecting the facts. So you can now go and check, say no correct. Or say you want Tarsus 5 AD. And when you these facts, and of course, you bet me put a lot of facts in together. Now you are now going to start the actual learning. One of the things you can do, books. Assuming say Bible, Bible near the other now. Of course, you can read most of it from the Bible near the other, but I want you to come to the Bible sometimes last. Why? Because so you know what people think, what people are saying. Or say Paul. Now I can just put in books.google.com. So call Google Books. And I'm going to put in Paul, Beth, or something. And St. Paul, an Apostle Paul. And what this does, of course, you have all kind of books. Has say, and most of these books may be free. What I say free, conservative Christians who are say free liberal Christians who are say. Of course, you can even look for Adventist resources. What I say, but can you go on some a whole database of all the books that are available. Sometimes they on the full version or my preview. In fact. Sometimes most of the books are person to have a kind of preview near you here. And so what you want to but the point is it gives you something to start with. Ne place of birth, maybe a war no any and then you can read more until you can compare some of these audio books plus actual books. So you can decide to filter. Say, I want only books written in the 21st century. And then it gives you a book with 2013, 2006, and these are all Christian books. You could even say Paul birth by non-believers or non-religious, and it will start giving you why people think that Paul never existed near there until you start reading about them. So one pay books I say any document you can go to magazines and newspapers and things and also be 21st century magazines talk about try to say Paul didn't exist or something, and you have a lot of people who put this argument into we say now a bow to actually be ahead of the game whenever you have to continue with some of these conversations. And I decided to chip this in, and you can do this for every other topic. Finally, where we say then you can come to our own. And when the men can everybody knows for Mrs. White books near the and you have them on m.ejwritings.org. Ubenya book Bia Mrs. White Atro. I mean, other magazines, the Signs of the Time, Spectrum, Adventist Messenger, all these things are there, and Bible commentary, and so and I felt when we start looking at things from this angle, no, ama ya Bible see and we become very sharp and we can explore a bit deeper and be much more relevant to a lot of young people and current issues. In fact, ubetimi some of the name I and ubetimi they go through everything, whether it's from jewelry to the issue of the law to Sabbath to what, everything. But we yes na ebuama wo no very up to date with what is happening out there. And we need a lot of resources to also help you. Before I give the chance to questions, my main last story, you can story as into my mention personal story enough for me. Me overly view and Yamia Domini dear Kakro de Maya and a mature database application, which was a kind of a software. And I did voting, student voting for student leaders. And in fact, we were trying to build a database for Medina Police Station. And I spending some time to actually learn more about how to, do database and any Me ba UK in a, juma kakra ye co school see ye question teacher DNA and the na me came first day. Na me university teacher, a mentor, eba abe observe me. Adi ana me suano. Adi ana me coach yeah, me say 12 to 13 year olds. Na me coach them on database. Just imagine, I just started there because I'm trying to let you appreciate say the topic, was I knew it from even a higher level. And my plan is spending about a week because this was my very first observation. You needed to get it right because first impressions, and I'm a lesson yaba it was an hour and 15 minutes lesson. Normally, no mentor, now man discuss lesson. And to Busa, me say, how did it go? Me ask me meeting say chesadi medwedwam kama, because topics like I say machire niam me ka say ma cover bibia nkwala ni adwo busa questions any ade. Busa say, how did it go? So well, I think I set up a very clear objective and I was able to achieve them. I said, okay, Emmanuel, let me tell you something. You did very well. It's true because the behind the near positive kakra the adada. You did this and that and that. But there was a lot of teaching, but no learning was taking place. Now, can you explain that? So, well, what that means, ASA, it was all about you, what you knew. But I tell you, the children left today not better than they came in. There was no learning taking place. That was a game changer in my life. And sometimes, one thing I learned from there was humility. Abotre, you may think you are very good on this topic. You have been this for a very long time. But the question is, as a mentor, would they say there was a lot of teaching and preaching going on, but your members were not learning? Engage in the very important part of our ministry, which is scholarship. Amen.
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 Also for
Amen.
you, Manuel Asamoah, Nyame onshira wo papa. Mpanimfo, just within some time here, yedima also free. Yenyina yesua ade kese pa. It's good to say, retreat to say, bibi say ebaso. Ebremu. Me pese mi jama yenyina what question. What contribution no? Me pese bebusa na ma yehunu won nsa no ansa. Ese o fitin ya na wo bam. Yehunu won nsa na fe recognize so. Isrew pa. Good. And so they can buy Southeast SDA churches. Jesus Pastor Quay.
Yeah, with the sentiments are so for what you express here, and I mean, so me can am there for us. So, I mean, him to create in Yamia che, yeah, chedi. Yeah, absolutely wonderful. We just say, go find the be a free baby, yeah, any pan war here. And it is of Emmanuel, Yamisha pa me iPad nisi me change my church no more libre. Ya me did say me ankasa ebeboa me so nti me do asepi. Na bibi a wo kan ye na me behia emu ncheche mu kakra. We see issue bi ba. Ya yenko other sources no first. I hope I heard that correctly. Na ekono mikai se nipa bi no me bedi nkomo bi a story back one share so nana it had to do with speaking in tongues and one edibeshia me office nenti ya staff we be head one ma waka tongues back kra tongues is konkron and ba just say one more follow the teachings of the charismatics. I follow until it was one story from a honor after the other. Me immediately say womu ehunu yenzu ya say no. Until the chair me honor kakra say yensha siem free honor. One ma washa say no na say no the waka ho one get transition no na say no ne guni trips a ya na go fa hawaba. Into Adaroma boy in kakra.
Ide sofo medasepa na unim sofo yeah nanka metaye niema bi na se hawa ma menya sa kakra na ja me so me mpanimfo ya na metanya muntimi nyamu na ja me yusu mu kakra ma Adaroma sofo we de ma me so pacho odwe ho sen let me start with you. What do you want to say?
Oh, you Manuel man. Who put me on the spot? Say yes, I
That is.
And somebody, let's tap into your mindset, Kakrana for Yatuaso, Adaroma.
One of the things I see now, maybe approximate near Wukano. Say, on so be mida kwanhwenia. Ye knew fa tre kron no mo senia me mida kwanhwefo ye ti ase esifa so wo basic eyibi answer. Eni nte no ne ameka ne say wo kan bibia na obi ka bibi chewo a compare that me any panic can, you know, Brabesha ye dear no moon so. Brabesha ye dear no moon so. And in TS, Anna, questions I be something be not who and conquer here because you would have, you know. It's just that sometimes any panic or Tiona now we really fear the no cra na Niawaka coteno and Nuna war to America.
That's right.
So what I say is that yes, whatever you hear, come back to where we are now. Because you know that is what we believe scripture is teaching. I suspect that is similar thing now.
Thank you. And minim say obi pese wo kasa. Now let me even push the question a bit further because you raise a very, very important question. Yay, by the way, we have about 7 different types of Seventh-day Adventists in the world now. Maybe a bit surprising, but you can't Seventh-day Adventists now. We have it's like a spectrum. Yeah, well, the very liberal throughout to the very conservative. I mean, obi oha said things a question about Obama. My course already be an empty question. No was say in Konya divine service. Now I say 5 and I say 6. You know, because they are so rigid. Say na DNT. So this is how it should be. Yeah. Any what people who are on the same unkonya, say we want to start with nothing. And that is how in the spectrum is. And even coming to us as Seventh-day Adventists, the question is, where do you posit yourself? So I won't get you confused, because you can read two separate Seventh-day Adventist documents and you leave worse than you started. And I'm just using that to further your question to say so baby na so kind baby a kahwa na so fe no nko na so de namo. What is the danger in it for you? And how does scholarship help you to become a good teacher? Me just a software question now, what do you think?
Mpacho meet me akasa kakra. Aye.
Okay.
Mijiri said the whole point of scholarship, and it's ideas not doors. Crofo kasa bebre. And sometimes no se mete software dey ya working here. They omo kan. Di kan hwehwem. Na wape answers ama womo. Adia boy me Mijiri say Yehowa dance di for kra na ma me decide say me SD sofo. Na be kwa ino mo ba ye fi. Na omo ni ba omo ba mutimi me ni omo ka Adventist here. No mo so ke cancel be be cancel me dey no kra. Then I always had to go back. Say me kwa ko kan ni nti omo no adwene ye omo sa. Na ma say be kan di nti ayen so ye adwene ye sa. The time be omo say ba second time a. Na me ni omo di see ani na me hu say me win. So pastor ko me gidi say ideas na wo abonten no doors pa say obetimi ansa na yemrant ye no yemaba wa no so nsam a ye ka kire omo no doors say bi o ho ase wontie ne ya ka kire omo no da den pa say obetimi ayi omo no nti say bi a mete sofo ase ade o kan say asem bi ba on ka say ne omo nyina but asem bi ba ne adwene ho na aye akyinyeji a di kan ko tie ne omo ka no na hwehwe mu ansa na uhwehwe mu a aboawa mo hunu die nti omo ka sa no hunu yenso ye de no die nti a eye papa sene omo de no megiri se so for menti ase a menya free wo de a wo kai mu na san me call radio so nkrofo so got radio bi wa nkrofo bi bisa questions na the way omo challenging inspiration ya de no in some omo de ba no theology classroom ni sua sa anema no mo tu futuro gu amanfo ani, but I always have to sit back, listen to what they are saying, find out their sources. Na me so me kwa na makwa kasa nti me kasa wie pe often say na the omo kan minim e na me chiremu de nti omo kan nti utimi ya timi agiu ma microphone say the omo no kekan emfaso bi ani so hwe ne e koso say ni challenges e koso ni ideas na we abont even ya sorry mukura no. The whole idea of scholarship is that we have to be ready, understand how people are thinking, and then we can also apply what we know. Sana mete osofo with the as minim se sofo yes ana o kan no dia na wa yim o mama yetrofo.
So I think you are spot on. One mistake me did say nyina no ya na sometimes na betumi aye na ye say the fact so be abusa question doesn't mean say answer, because there's a whole science behind questioning. So Bibusa questioner, what is the rationale? One said, so for question Obusa wasn't a question for him, but he wanted me to clarify a point to everyone. Everybody saw that as a question, but he's actually telling me to highlight a point to everybody. Say me everybody, and that is why I wanted to tap into one answer. Answer krana my. We have these dynamics of imparting knowledge. When him say 9 out of 10, I think only about 1% in a bebusa questioner or munim. Most of them, maybe 9 out of 10 questions a busa no. Questions they have their own understanding that. The mistake you do, because you have a question in internet, be a yes of only a trauma mintino, maybe yano. And sometimes you mess the whole thing up. So what you do is try to understand the person. I think say yes, that will be come back and say studying is listening. And make right there, the back say you listen to understand, not to speak, not to talk. You listen. What happens? Say, and you move a question. I think said the point is well made. Say, you a question now. I would probably say, wow, that is something I was seeing in an So we'll start with that attitude. It means that one bro wants to say, I'm also going to be a student by you. But I need to understand where you are coming from. Inti, do you want to tell me more? How did you even come to this conclusion? We are saying any other day. To obey learn asanas that gives you two things. One, time I will go through the process and once we have a background investigation. Because one of the beautiful things, I say, obi ebusa a question. No, I can say, obi nso kra nso a ebia me no agree, and so can say, how would you use your answer to answer that person? Then they try to explore, they explore. Gradually, you guide them into the word of God. Mestre say, the point here very simple. Say, kind bibi or baby, you are not even the idea of kind baby no doesn't even sound very settled for me. And yet you are going through a whole episode to study. Because so the bay met even amount for questions plus who die ase. Menya a bigger picture. Yet me di home. I think so that is the approach. But when it comes to stating the fact, Noah, you must add a bit of emotions to the facts about the gospel, about the Nyamik, about the Ujidie. And sometimes you relate to say, the reason why I've accepted this, even though it may not make sense, but the reason why I've accepted this, when you give your life testimony and a life experience to it, it changes the whole conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So for that, say, but you need to be answer peja womansa. Yes of penny pastor Usache. If you are near Jennifer, if you are near course of for Charles Bediako, and you follow that you know and to the education pastor Usache and Pacho.
Medasi, so for figures. Ima, that's a pa Yaminchiro. Na message, one of representation, I said, Sanya may, you know, baby, I'll time I was spending a pano. Many profit in my years, yasa, I'm for 20. Presentation singing, no, mommy and for miles of one, a boy pa. Do what better presentation be a Mr. and also for just, or more than ask over question, now we are. What am I and a boy, Madam?
Okay.
I say, my idea, pa, that was the papa. That's the cat as some big crack. Not the working. Who said the enemy dear be brace some? Nana me pet. Bibi a free Bible moves or.
Oh, man, Oko mute.
Aha, oba, aha, Missy Pasema, the Dawasi. Na adia woke no kure pa. Hwe se oba na Yesu so na atade anwenu ngoma wan o so Yesu atade anwenu ngoma no. Na me pa de koro. Ebi se na me hwe se eye na atade na egu fom no. Ana se die mu no so ye. Kwase me ko YouTube mi hu se Israel for no wade bi egu me ko yi mu bi. That is say. Obia be ma bia bi gu no kom. Wo ware ya no ma to bi de ama na de gu kom. Fi se o se e mama ma kai say nyame ene bo ade o mo nkoso busu bia so mu saade wegu saade na no a enti aboa me pa ma meti ase pa kisa kana na menti ase kora kwa e fa so a aba ne so atade no ba ne nipa na ekwa na o mo doso no so e kire me sesei we na o mo so mu enti wo kan ne ma hu se de wo kan nyina no kwesa bibisi na hwehwe a nyame da o ma de mpa baka wo behuru adekode. Amen.
That's it. That's it. Near walk on a crown, I a singlet to be almost this share. No, the share say you know, walk on a sin horn. Not I doesn't say what I know. I know, sir. And the almost show what I know, what I know. So, no sense. Aha. Indeed, I know that. That's it. Sister Jennifer.
That's something that I say. Mpacho, me so my thing be say aka me pese me bisane say pastor Ima nyamin sha ayade. E kan bese me bisane say na o ka say ebia o ye presentation bi ana say o kire ade a Students and nkurɔfoɔ a ɛwɔ ho no yɛ interested ɛwɔ adeɛ no a wɔrekyerɛ no na ɔmo fi hɔ a ɔmo atumi anya biribi de akɔ ɛna ɔma yɛ example sɛ wode story ɛbɛfa mu sɛdeɛ ɛbɛyɛ a nkurɔfoɔ no bɛnya interest ɛwɔ mu na mpɛ sɛ mebisa sɛ apart from sɛ woyɛ studies no sɛ bi a woteki biribi sɛ Daniel a ɛbɛhia quotations bebree sermon mu nso no ɛte sɛn ebi wɔ hɔ a sɛ yɛyi obi sɛ bi a ɔmɛyɛ preach na members ni bi ehu sɛ yɛ ɔno apɛ ne ɛbɛba adwene mu ane sɛ ne deɛ quotation deɛ yɛwu quotation bebree bɛpie mu enti mepɛ sɛ bibisa sɛ woyɛ sermon a quotations ahe na wohia apart from sɛ wo use PowerPoint quotations bebree a wobɛhia for o sermon apart from sɛ yɛ lesson na wo ne wo members ɛsua patro ma sɛ nisa no
question we deɛ medase pa na o question no ɛyɛ mfa sɛ question mmienu in one wobusa sɛ quotation dodoɔ sɛn na wobɛhia ɛna ɛkwan bɛn so na ɛbɛfa so ama o service na ayɛ interesting apart from be a stories and anaasɛ deɛma bɛn na bɛtumi de aka ho
mpatro ai
yo ɛne mamentoma sofo baako bi ha on kasa na me pese sofo Richard me am boss sofo Richard na me baby die when I came to Bracknell into on my boss from day one na me sure say question we there I remember an excellent teacher himself sofo boy pacho
yeah me da say sofo ima that's why I did power presentation all the by say ye kasi ye prepare sermon now we know EGACCOM homiletics and answer sermon preparation a kwan ye fa so a ye de sermon ye can sermon go ahodo is that right? Your different types of sermons enti ye the type of sermon a wo be ye no eno na e kire quotation to do ben na me use so bia na wo sermon a wo ye no person obey narration bi ye biblical story. It's a biblical story, no, bia book kura ko ye free mo no. Story ni nyina ho. So you are going to read it, reread it, try to understand it. Obo modern say, bia obeti ase. Na enye se bia obeka story no keke ni mo the application a obeka ho no. So eno ye ba ko eno say ehia test biblibi. Obi onso an opeso ye bia biblical exposition. Bia ofa one test bi. Na oba ba mu yi message bi afiri mu. Eno no kofa test bebrebe kra na ade no so afa bebrebe. Any obi bi so ese we me yet textual your friends sermon.
Yeah.
So it is a textual. Ni nyina ade botan na wo wani so. So botan na wo wani so. Who person who can be about the Sabbath in famra form. Untimi kofa test ba ko na confirm say enti Sabbath no eye memenda ana say what do you call it? Saturday. And I said a 7 day. And no test about entry. It will be here a lot of tests who so. Now Opesebia woka one argument to be we are so interested in a particular book. Who here so be baby and no move out. It is a suggestions and I said, wow, do I so why do we impose it on test to be? Would it be actual terms and can be for Jamamon? A Jamamon person can be from one cassa work of a passage beer. Oh, I do know with Trimo. I've been away with Trimo, no alpha test to be. Some you see test way. If you can't test Nancasano, what kind in and for own position? And Tinafio, Ubequa, nice, a woofrim, as no as alpha test was Sandia, but into the air can say. It may depend upon the type of sermon or person we hear. So, sermon crowd person we hear. It may determine about test to do what we hear. It be what a hear test to do. It be so what we hear a lot of biblical quotations that we use. And a brave cost one, Yenny as of one. Yes, for this time around, say, many my bro fast story back. A bro fast story. For about almost 1.5 months. And our master me say, me no hermeneutics. Ya share other churches the only last 2 weeks near started Adventist approach. So etini na ebia nkaka nkre yesre asofo a edu ba bi o say yenya the scholarship abamu yi de asori mpanimfo enya hyehyeye na ye ne asofo emomodin se ye be take sa orientation no em se be boy empa ewe kwan a ye fa so a ye du sua Bible em se ye no a ebe boy ye nyina me ehunu the types of sermons you to me present we are sorry em kwese time bi ebe ye expository ana se ebe textual ana se ebe narratives ni na ebe hia na se ehun difference na ebe boy am to me enya variations our sermons ye to we are sorry mo that was say
amen. Mama Jennifer, me just what's the also for church mu ya sepa yi.
Me fa ketu abi nka so for ade o kan ye ho na nansan ye ne emabunu bi ye survey bi. Na ne ebuso omo se omo ba sorry a sermons ne ma na omo hu ne sen. Now one result kept coming. Say, by the way, a lot of young people in millennials they don't want to be talked at. Ade ba ko mun to me e cry say my begina ho say me be kirew. They can't stand it. Into what hokra no I absent minded. Because Samokaya first church na de to so no. Your best sermon is only going to be retained between 5 to 10%. Samokai. Pastor Usu Church, your best one is only going to be about 5 or 10%. It means that the chances any panel sorry no be empty no are very high. And this is where I think ye hear Hebrew word was shuv. So for Fergus Bami was it 10 no hosa try you 10 in our approach when it comes to this. I think just to emphasize some of the pointers Pastor Richard Kaya, you need to know nipane wo ho no a o ye wa sorry man no what is their need. Now, what is the best way a kwan be na befa so reach their needs? Unim say there are days we shouldn't even be preaching. It shouldn't even be a sermon. As long as there is a way to impact the people and get them to appreciate and learn something, that is the fundamental thing about scholarship. Not doing what everybody has been doing, but finding a way that addresses the position. Make a placement to baby. Not an opinion, something like a broth area, and I try to get people to come to church near there. Something like coffee morning, even though you have coffee in the there, but you say coffee morning in the boots, because I'm not be almost sorry, so I'm not Adi TSU come and have free something. Oba near the music, Christian music, so near the boot near Bompire, open pie. Do you want us to pray for you something? And that was how we're able to reach out to her. But you cannot do that to Obia. What's Nanyamia sorry more or baby before. So you always need to start with your target audience. Nipana watch your madian and I say Nipana be audio engaging. Need you saying. Now how do you reach it? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you also for. But your mama yanko also for bidia if you are call Pastor Mache so. Now if Pastor Mache be last. Or bidia ku we are Pastor Mache last. It also for bidia ko. Tacho.
That's Pastor Fergus, thank you very much. Pastor Asamoah, that's a this is brilliant. I'm enjoying it. Na many ajepa nyoma odi abanu bebre. Na sofo we dia me appeal to asofo mpanimfo no. Minim se mu nyina obia or resources bia ebetimi aboa yen. Pastor Asamoah kra ne die minye sure se fa kra or ye half kra. Yenyina ye wo bi. Tinanka me appeal senka this particular scholarship the enka yen taking further. Maybe I don't know, so once a quarter be a bit me a shiana ya chire. So because bebre nim computer nim DSN you see your resources bebre your coin meet me nipa bebre share. So Intina I appeal na me deba say mama yempe bibisa nanka from time to time yen share na yen church ye ho because they suffer by a minimum se beboa ye mu bebre na ye mu bebre kran so we need further time to really learn how to use it. And then you know what but how to use it in society another intimate appeal no. My conference I will be almost a theological Albert Christ. Where be once a quartabina asophonia kushiana the topic be able to na resources near there when I use. I mean, you say in your bibisa or yensu see more even just to learn how to use resources. And the appeal and I'm a day man penny. The media then your question, they appeal.
So for video, Kunyamisha said a very good point upon we're making. Because no question is a man you no. The question is how do we do it? How only a big part if he say in idea into that. Namfisa bebwa. Also for much.
Because me say we can't be see for no born before computer for no. Also for my question, they say, "Oh, Kasano, who say that wo university lecturer and I mentor no about observe one. Who say we are best no, or can say there was no learning, there was only teaching. There was no learning. Obey there who say for no learning, and now catch the only necessary yard and case who say they are learning." Na me person me who say me so me preach and I say me teach ya me who say Asamoah no more learning and Asamoah
This is a great question, but me answer me go back to me principle NT.
Yeah, we are no for so. And I didn't panic at you.
And Pastor soon say we're about Argentina. Oh, yeah, no.
When you have a problem, but people who say, they always say, Papa, so can't I then bet you the learning.
Yeah.
How do we learn?
I think we can have another conversation on the art of learning, but Ubia was in fact MA dissertation, me look at the whole art of learning and transmission of faith, and how the Bible is both a tool of learning and also gives the principles of learning. One of the things that you said, anyway, just to elder suffer a question straight away because of time on tea. One of the rules, ASA, when you are doing 80% of the time and your students are doing 20% of the time, you are teaching. There's almost no learning taking place. Until you see it straight away, it defeats the whole point of sermon. Because sermon, we are unkwana wakasa. Until what normally happens, ASA, you must find a way we kebab no. Kebab, enam no tutuam. Those are the main points. In the word Jane and in Yamaniama Kakran so can as a eba neko naba neko enti. You know, you have a big moment, another big moment, another big moment. Enti in your sermon and in your presentation, find a say, did you kind over something a bit get the people's attention. It could be a story, it could be a question, it could be anything, it could be humor. Because when we say Nyankopon abo yadwene say it can only take certain things within a certain continuum. Enti bia what make it a no. Now it is a bit easy when you are speaking to people even on to say Zoom and I say, because people would want to talk if you ask them questions. But the key thing here is you make the big points, then you find a way for people to relate to it, related to it. And it could be saying, I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying, yes, sermon, no matter questions in your man, because you need some feedback to ensure, at the end of it makes sense to them. That is one of the things you can do. The other thing you can do, try to involve people even in the presentation. And sometimes, yes, sir, me who are so for baby, I'm preaching, a lot of demonstrations. Me can see a call come meeting, Pastor Imbra, and they am friend by one presentation. We no obi any aje. I think so he spoke for just about 15 or so minutes, but he spent about 30 minutes there. And what was he doing? He was engaging, relating, all the time. And say na enti emma enkwala ni nyina no were so excited. Can you say enkwala are the best model for learning? In this when a congregation no honor say you see yourself talking for the whole period, then you see there's a problem. There's a problem. Those are some of the things we ube to me. Mehuna sorry bia, they have it as a policy said your beya sorry anope bia no ewiano. Now you come and face the congregation for them to ask you a question about your sermon, which is very nice. Inti yes wako kengu hoke kenawoko. You have time to explore further with them. The other thing, yes, sometimes I think Pastor Richard they can get a dominant point, because people don't need much on a Saturday, especially when so much is happening. Inti you could say point we say no you could make somebody come and speak something. You can inti who has a facilitator. It is not say unkwa wujina hwa uja waponugun crofo no ina ebua, but how you bring all these dynamics niana ebua so.
Okay, Pastor Asamoah Mpachewo, there's a question the witness say busa. Can a preacher read other sermons and make it their own?
That is a good question. The question here, yes, the answer here, yes and no. And I'm saying this because I mean, say Adonas's or one commit me a busan 1 or 2 questions, sir.
Also,
Adonas's much what
But also, thank you.
Now, boss, beautiful face in Adiakote baby yo.
But me here, Jumanti.
Oh, okay. Yamfana say wako read Baptist sermon. Ina ubepuagu yenya yese so. Which is a problem ben elder.
I think the question that maybe said is different from the Obi Samino.
Okay.
Let me clarify my question.
Okay, good.
When you presented, you said we can read other materials, which is good, and from other sources. And you took us through some other sources, Netflix and all BBC4 and other things. My question is, you've read somebody's sermon. For instance, I've read let's say from Methodist, Second Coming. Is it appropriate for me to preach the same sermon without changing? I mean, we'll call it plagiarism in the first place. But is it appropriate for me to preach the same sermon, not crediting the person, but come to Southeast Church and preach the same sermon without changing anything? That's my question.
Good. Elder, now the way I will be a question, explanation, no cross our church, the ones and direct. Let's start with my question, Kakra. Say how?
That's okay.
Ebi a kind Second Coming question ya busa ye. Na nipa ekura say Yesu beba in rapture form. Enti wabegina Yesu na say the wo kan wo dwam kama. It's even immaterial whether you give credit or not, but that is the sermon I will preach. What do you think is the problem here?
The problem is you are giving wrong information. But I use Second Coming as an example. Yeah. But you read materials and you find out that the preacher, what he's talking about, maybe the person is talking about the wall of Jericho. He gave so much examples without any conflicting with the SDA standard. And you pick it up and you think, look, this will be good for Southeast without changing it. My question, is it appropriate Because there are certain pastors, they preach same sermon which have been preached on the internet without changing word to word, and they make it their own. And as we learning now, it's a very good. It's good I came on today. Is it appropriate for us to do that?
Yeah.
Preach same sermon, don't change it, even though it is appropriate. Preach the same sermon, don't change anything. Give it to the people without referencing wherever you pick your sermon from.
Yeah. So for Dan we should Mr. Boy kakra wa hana. I think so why quiet actually. So wait me. Maybe I want to wait me akasa, that's what I mean.
Oh, how dear.
So for Dan is okay. I think sir elder
and also.
Okay, so for Dan.
Pacho, so for me
oh, okay, boss. Yes. Yeah.
I think the question I see, I think it depends more on the preacher itself. And I said the public that he's facing, and I said the audience that he's facing, because there is a sermon. God has a way of inspiring, and there could be a friend is saying a sermon done at a certain point. It speaks to the need of your congregation that you are going to speak to. And so as a preacher, when a hater sana, you just see straight the circumstances there and the answer to that circumstance. And so I think that in your mode of presenting is about making it your own as a preacher and letting it come out to the people. Say, listen, Asamoah, I am here with you. I'm being part of, I'm taking part, and I said, I can say, there more experience, and I'm experiencing it too. And it's based on that basis, and this is the inspirational answer I am placing on the table. So let's think about it. And I love what you just mentioned, because I've seen a lot of churches doing it here. Again, I say, see, we are based on our sermon, yet discuss it. Even quite to the point, says some of the churches, they have like, especially now, Zoom, as a preacher said, come up with questions. Now here we are, I think a preacher, it depends on you and how you stand to present and the people that you are approaching. And I'm percent maybe account.
Yeah.
Good. Pacho, I say nipa mienu do mo nsa baba. Ebetimi am mian deal with eno kwa.
Pacho, does it help? Answer, does it help?
Charles, only Eugene. Pacho, we are Eugene.
Yeah, Eldonasis me gidi say so kofa will be sermon, so will be preacher, so ultimi can say minya inspiration free as messy.
O man ni pakon
credit. So as a so ultimi can. Me kai say me preachy sermon biwo. Retreat say yeah, I'm said the first one retreat na penny for cancer me na me preach near in Amsterdam. Na me preachy sermon bi. Pastor Koiba me chain or catch me say this is a good sermon. Me person me catch it say I'm going to preach this sermon. There's nothing wrong. So what is a Pastor Vegas preaching now? Ko jina baby now. O kana safuna nim se no kure ni minya. Pastor Vegas can send na me feel say ye nyina yeti. Nti na me pese me ye di ho nkomo. Me gidi say utimi getum sa say baby a winya free. Elder Onassis nyesa na chese one kind of
Thank you.
Pastor Kwe, say make be kakram dia fo so enuanum.
As a minya recognize you, but when I'm so Pastor Kwe, can minya recognize you, but would you when you can remember come work as no. Can me recognize you kra that kasa.
So chairman fateme.
When you TSC with your kasa, can Eugene. Na me some yebre no so dia so. Yebre na so. Ti mo me mani pa mi say Pastor Kwe kasa wie.
The idea of integrity. The idea of integrity, a key. And then as a man, they are reading, they are absolutely sophisticated. And when you inspiration from the internet, sermon be free, baby, you need to credit it. Yes, Anna, you stand there as a man of integrity, as a man, they embrace you. But one can come from A to Z as a sermon. You have no credibility. Be in country, but what create how am the way they can create pen and the say.
Okay.
Let's credit. Give credit where it belongs.
Thank you. Eugene. Also such a one baby cry. Eugene.
You also Jamfi.
Kakram they can apart from integrity in a woman. What point is no being say? Is it true? Is it in line with our doctrines? Say if you friend is and the baby, and yes, and so called fun city at the bar. It's a big crowd say, what for the about my variation bemu? Can grab fast so I can make it your own. Because sermons, right? To say he him should be and easy for the troy. On my Methodist for children who are in I too. But the who's even cry hymns, you know. Words be a war you use no as a hymn now, so called Methodist de moi as a sakakra of the sakaraka crabum to be in line with our doctrine. And apart from say as of for Naidika, you know, about integrity, you know, make sure say what you are presenting, you know, is in line with our doctrines. What I say.
Thank you so much. Pacho, Pastor Jamfi, sorry, I'm going to say Pastor Sechira, Pastor Jamfi, sorry, dog.
Yo, also for me that's it. Better also for pennies was it. Question by me person me share experience be na yehu the seriousness of it. Many years back, Tamwana me suffer Ghana. On se Ghana no can camp meeting no ya na omode manuscript ever. Let's say sermons ni nyina. Na me preach one of the sermons na nipa na wo twerɛ na minimum. Na many J sermon no to the extent say na ama mani agi nipa kro. But later on in my reading na me ko hu say sermon na nipa na de to camp meeting manuscript no no. Na ewo 7-day Adventist book be we believe and we tune from A to Z. Any trust is written by so. In fact, I was disappointed. And up to date now, I still don't understand why as any background. Oh yes, sir. The second, so still is another pastor in Ghana. Honestly, yes, sermon bisa. I was so much into that sermon. And after about 10 to 12 years, me read him one and go PSM on also baby said the internet from A to Z. And also pure camp meeting manuscript Musa. As of for no edin eshase say ni pass my signature. In fact, say ye fa obi sermon near give you creditor. Naturally, ye who say a obi dia a maulusu respect ni pakrono o mawo. And it is very serious. Of course, your society na ye free be a friend say oral theology. Oral theology nature say we ho na fi utimu na eba ye de ano ye pass ye di ayasemka ye ntwere. Enti ano no tia utimi ka bia na ekwa de na nsem a ye tu obi ntimi nka say ye media ebebu aye bu obi ntimi ka say ye media. Sana na ye system no esitie. And most of the time, the young Ghanaian culture near the you know, do not oral theology, and you to near Semka, yen time training our partners, and as animal neighbor. And never go about me a car, Nipano be fat to me trimuneco, but maybe Nipano, ni reading, and no copies over baby, and say emphata. Now the question is, say, semicophobic sermon, na me be preach, a quite ben, I make catchers of money say you'll be sermon. Maybe this is one of the way. We shall see how it may catch you say. Now saying na me reading. And I'm copy sa Pastor Asamoah eka ye na me pesende me ne mo che sa asem no. Esan say ehirame na me gidi ye say e be hira won so. It is one of the ways to start. And also no dey obi ko hunu ba bi obeka so di kan ka se nipa so me say eboa safoma ko mo ko hwehwe ba bi a wo yi sad ni free. It makes sense say mo ma yen trust ye be give you credit. Baby I would say no, baby I can free. And I any a tray a sermon, maybe I'll free piano for footnote show. Say be a hana me free because one day be our script no be sabeka. Enti kakra meka no. We should avoid plagiarism. Can him be serious nowadays? Dear, very, very serious. Madam Wasi.
Okay. That was simple informer who said Dan on South and mess fancy here. So for Dan also. It will see her, so for matches on South, it will see her. And I'm a match on South, but yet be see her the ceremony. And Sanya is a year penance be essential you nasa. A quenya wife go ye quasa, but no me no. If you also for Embra, the announcement in the mind. Now you ba Mary appear could be. If I show one you know, I open to one stanza per my. Na fe yemfa obedi na nko dem ye.
Me also for me that say me 2 6 2 3. Ma de kwa me di wu echi nya me bra besi biara nya wo ko biara me obi yuwura me di wachi ma di kwa me di wachi wo shewu moja mami tiseni penyi na pawa udumti me di wachi. Amen.
Mary nyame shira opa. Mary nyame shira o. Watwa ne tia wa ma yen. Eno kure mo me yen si etrase. Na osofo Emmanuel Asamoah pa chew sofo shira yen. Etu ne Yesu enyu ase nyame nsa.
Choyemo mpaye. Nyame batampa anopa wiei yeda wase pa se wama enkenyan suma ye na watwi edon yi mo wo kire yen se yen kosora ntena wo na ase yen fa hobrase ensre wo nchen adom ensre wo nchen nyansa ensre wo nchen nimde yeda wase niema wo kire yen ye di nkomo ye hu se ba bi bebre no eja ye hia wo mpo echen se de ye dwene yesrew ma ho nkonkron no nkosora mo ayen bebi aye emre no kosora hye yen den na hye yen ma intimi nsuesua na enwanko a wodi omama yen yi yenyina no yentimi emmoa enfom mepie wo soro ahemamu mija sofo obi a wo platform mija elder bi a wo platform yesu mija busuafo wo platform yesu nyina a hye won sase obi amre ye no mesoro hye ne den ma yen na ekosoro so yenyina yemu inim se adwuma baako na ade ama yen and with you we know say umma wo bia adwuma mrekwa umma ne ho aka de enti kosora dom yen kosora ka ye ho kosora hyirehira yen o Yesu din mu amen
Amen. Ipacho osofo dedi akon osofo embra ye mo ayi bise kakra osofo dedi akon for announcement bi obi amaye afi yemfa na adwuma je nyina nko na bi.
Yo, Pastor Fergus Medasi Bebre, Yadamasi. First announcement, they say we apologize. Say I brought time no so kakra. I think you view 1 pepe Europe net 12 UK, but ya brought so be 40 minutes. Yeah, sorry pa. Say yes, and Timon Fanchain. The Atosu BM said the next session there a software meeting, pastors meeting. You be no platform na ya one run was. Dimesremo asofo ni nyina about 3 o'clock Europe and a 2 UK mama yen san hia na yen to aye meeting and right yeah no so enwumre so 8 pepe na pastor IB Boatin sign yen abekasa nti wo mu bia no ye be send would bro na wo hunu nyesa wo ye nti ye da was pastor am say no that's bebre
8 were Mohona 7 were.
Actually 8 were yes 8 were Europe and 7 were UK and you ready no. The next time I near some penny phone nyina be share the 8. Say idea we idea so for no a meeting na mo adwene insensem bia so for no ya damwase
Yo, but in for way there, and yeah, make us a mispa. See it into Team Wayne. Yeah, one Germany won't tell. Amen. Yeah, it must see.
Oyeye bisada, metuju, me blanc sempu, et qui a sa cheveux.